ultimately, at the end of the day, you've had to make some tough decisions in a padded room, as you put it. And also, you have to figure out who you can trust with those responsibilities.
Yeah.
How do you figure out who to trust and even how to trust yourself?
Well, I think in terms of the sort of the trust factor with your team, it is about setting the tone for your culture, right? What are your values? And then demonstrating those values, living by them, holding yourself accountable to them. And you know, that way you create a framework for what is tolerated and what is not pretty quickly. And you know, I've been at this company for a very long time, and we sometimes talk about, you know, people who come in and come and go quickly, which can happen, not very often, but they are usually people who come in with an idea of maybe wanting to, you know, kind of do it differently and not adhere to some of those values. I don't mean in terms of bringing their own fresh ideas, but, you know, culturally, it's not a good fit, right? Because they do not know how to kind of stand up to those values.
When you say culture and the kind of culture you want to foster, what is the culture here? What is the culture that you've built?
Well, I would say I've sort of grafted off of, you know, lots of work prior to myself, but it is what I would like to think that it is, you know, at the end of the day, what we want is for it to be we're in a creative business, right? We're in a creative business that is extraordinarily challenging. There are tons of variables that you're met with every day. And so you need a certain amount of innovation, flexibility, and again, coming back to that creativity. But I like a culture of accountability. That is really important. You know, the one constant in our business is that invariably things will go wrong. A movie doesn't work, a TV show, you know, doesn't work the way you want it to be, something doesn't work out the way you want. That is inevitable, right? And so the thing that you can control is how you deal with that, how you meet that moment, and being accountable to those moments and those things, having a deep understanding and a forum for discussion after the fact. It's hard to do sometimes. Nobody likes to admit to doing anything wrong, or, you know, nobody sets out to do and make a bad movie, as a for instance, but you have to hold yourself accountable.
You have this relatively new job. In addition to the film and TV studio, you're also overseeing all the content. Streaming is a big part of the business that I know the company is betting on. You have primetime TV, all of this stuff, late night. Where do you think this whole industry is going?
So film, ironically, film, I think is it's like an ocean liner. It's relatively stable. You know, one of its engines might be sputtering a bit, but we kind of know where it's going. And, you know, we have a pretty good handle at this point, post-pandemic, of what the audience wants, the kind of experience they want. We know that they love IMAX and large format. That is premium. They're willing to spend the money on that kind of an experience. The movies have to be good. Premium on quality, premium on originality, right? So we know that those things happen. And, you know, by and large, at Universal, we've been very successful in adhering to that. We also play a bit of a portfolio model, so we don't get too stuck in any one thing. Animation is still working. We've got 2 big animation studios that are at the top of their game. Horror is cyclical and it cycles quickly, but we've got somebody who's a very nimble, and Jason Blum, who is a very nimble, willing partner for us. And, you know, and then you keep your eye on other trends. But again, 20% down versus 2019, that seems to have stabilized, kind of know what's going on there. Television is really is different. We know what content is working, you know, again, sort of premium on, you know, high quality material. This is in the scripted world. But I'm looking at it in a way, thinking that we're running out of time, but this is such a long thing. But I think it's going, I think it will, consumption is where it needs to be. People are consuming an extraordinary amount of content. How they do it is changing, and it's changing rapidly. And at a legacy media company like ours, there's lots of watch outs, right? Like we know linear is declining pretty quickly, and Having said that, we need a network to be healthy because we've got lots of sports rights, right? And those sports rights are going to fuel Peacock, our streaming entities.